Hi everyone, I am about to interview His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo Olu. I'm really looking forward to this. Mr. Governor, good evening, Your Excellency.
Good evening, Mo.
The last time we did
this. So you're locked out.
I'm locked out. I can't get back into Nigeria. Can you imagine?
Well, we are trying to bring in a few Nigerians. I mean, I'm sure you are aware that Nigerians that have gone to the embassy. I still spoke to the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs today, and I think we're bringing the first set of maybe 200 or 300 early next week.
Okay.
Right, where there's some arrangements around where or how they're going to stay, to quarantine them, and all of that. So all of that is working on. So if you're interested.
Okay, those are some of the concerns I have, because when we arrive, we're not quite sure. Anyway, we can talk about that actually. We'll talk, but I just wanted to say first and foremost, thank you so much for making the time out to speak with me today. I know how extremely busy you have been. You're at the forefront of COVID-19 for Lagos, for Nigeria. Thank you so much for all the great initiatives. And
thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to just, have a conversation. I know you've put me on a timer. You've told me 45 minutes, so I'm going to do my best to stick within the 45 minutes. I always ask in all my interviews, simply because it's almost as if this took us all by surprise. Now, yes, Barack Obama spoke about it about 5 years ago, that there could be a pandemic. Bill Gates has spoken about it. Even George Bush has spoken about it. There's even a novel about it, about, did it happen or would it happen? And in one particular novel, it actually started in Wuhan. So with the benefit of all of this, why do you think it caught? Because you are a global leader, you are a world leader of one of the biggest mega cities in Africa. So it caught us all by surprise. Would you say that it caught us by surprise?
In some sort, it did actually. I think a lot of the leaders, even when it started, we all just thought it was a local thing. It was a regular flu that would come before the big winter would pop in. And so it was a case of, no, well, it's not me, it won't come to me, and so, right, I hear about something and, you probably will never get around here. So two things that I think happened, probably the index country, as it were, did not either want all of us well enough, and probably also the World Health Organization also did not raise the alarm fast and quick enough.
Yeah.
But for us in Lagos, which is where I sit and I oversee, we came out of an Ebola 6 years ago. So we have a bit of experience and a bit of what could possibly go wrong.
So that kind of prepared us. But nonetheless, I mean, when you look at the fact that something like this pandemic now, because a pandemic is when it affects the whole world, obviously, it's shut down every single global economy in the world, including Lagos. So we know how important that is to Nigeria. But when you look at how the world has looked at this pandemic, what are your views on how the world has dealt with it? Because from where I sit, it's almost as if it's every country or every city or every state or every territory for itself. What are your views on how the world is dealing with it?
Mo, you're right. You're right. We all threw, being my brother's keeper, we all threw it to the wind. It was clearly a case of every country, every region, pretty much every state to your own.
Yeah.
So because there's no one global or one worldwide, protocol that we will have dealt with. Because what am I saying? If all of us have taken it seriously, maybe in the first or second week of January, for example, they could have given the entire world a 1 month notice and say, for example, by the first week in February or by the 15th of February, there should not be international travels again. Give just a general 21 days or 14 days notice globally, which will become a protocol for everybody. But it didn't happen. So everybody were just doing things, at their own pace. Not until when I see what it looks like, not until when it's not my portion, it will never come to me. Sort of like everybody was just, and that's where we are now.
Yeah.
And we're forgetting that we keep saying to ourselves that you are a business leader yourself, that we've been saying this before, that it's a global village, it's one market, right? So it's like one infection. And all of a sudden, we all now realize that, the things that have brought all of us together, right, as in being a global one market economy, right, all of a sudden, we couldn't, even as leaders, come together to say that, let us, I mean, where the G8 now? Where the G7?
Exactly.
Where are they?
But you as a leader of a mega city, are you talking to other mega city leaders to say that in the years to come, God forbid, we don't want to ever obviously see anything like this again, but are you guys talking to each other now about what should we do to be prepared, should in case, preventive measures? Are you all engaging now, or you're still pretty much each person is doing their own thing?
To be honest with you, it's still pretty much each person doing their own thing. I think it's post-COVID-19 that all of those conversations will now come together, and there'll be a lot of experience sharing, and there will probably now be some global protocols that we will know. It's like you're running a fire drill, so it's never been anything, at least not in the last 1 century, anything like this. People have said, okay, once an event like this happens, these are the bells you ring. This is the muster point you have to go to. This is the kind of, recording you needed to have done. So there was nothing like that. So truly, really, nobody globally is speaking to each other. Everybody is still, just deal with your problem, and I think it's going to be for a while. And why do I say this? Because people are also, it's like a sign of people are going to be coming out of it at different times.
Yes.
Right? At different times. And you are going to be seeing a lot of both country restriction, both state restriction, and all sort of things will begin to come out, in the next, weeks and months ahead of us.
But because as you said, we're so connected, and in that being connected, people are going to start opening up their borders at different times. So there kind of has to be some planning by everyone together. But I don't know how that's all going to pan out. But I want us to talk about Lagos, because Lagos is what concerns you, and Lagos is what you've been at the forefront dealing with for the last couple of months. And to say, I'm always cheering, and I'm always, inspired by all the great initiatives that you've brought to bear. Now, let's talk about those initiatives, and also where we are now in the fight against COVID-19.
Okay, well, thank you. First is Lagos is a sub-national. So, so when people do comparison, people will say that, have you seen what happened in Rwanda? Have you seen what happened in Kenya? Have you seen what they've done in Ghana? So why is Lagos not doing it? And I'll just correct them that, well, thank you very much. These 3 places you've mentioned are countries. I'm sub-national, I'm a city. It's just that in terms of economy, in terms of size, yes, I can very well say that I have a few indices I can compare with them. So it's also the same thing, right? Yeah. So when we started, when I say we as in Lagos State, the first thing that happened was my cabinet member and my commissioner for health in December said to us that, Oga, this thing that is happening in China, and I said, what thing is happening in China? Can't you see? I said, no, I cannot see. Well, it says, well, this is like the kind of thing that happened in Ebola 5 years ago then, because this was 2019, and it says we needed to, and I said, okay, fine. You have all of my support. What do we need to do? So we came in January, immediately after all of the New Year, ceremony, and he said we need to start preparing because it's going to come. It's like a wave.
So he saw the foresight.
Oh yeah. He was actually part of the team. He wasn't in Nigeria then, but was part of a team, that came into the country then to solve the Ebola crisis. He's a biosecurity expert. So he knew that is a biosecurity issue that we're dealing with, right? So before the end of January, we set up what we call an emergency command center, which I was made the incident commander, and he became my deputy incident commander. And what were we doing? We went to our infectious disease center. We'd clean up all of the facility we have in that infectious disease at mainland hospital to make sure that we've got it all ready, Sorry about that. Yeah, we've got it all ready, and so we're also lucky. We have in Lagos, we have what we call a biosecurity lab, that it was developed immediately after the Ebola, right? And we've completed it. Thank God we've got some foreign donor, the Canadian government, and all of it. So we needed to just scale it up, and we started asking ourselves, where would our personnel come from? So from early February, we started training people, bringing out PPEs, and all of that. And that was where we now had to, tell, agencies of the federal government, FAN, I don't control FAN. Immigration, I don't control immigration. Nigerian Port Authority, we don't control Nigerian Port Authority. But we knew that it was going to be important. It's not a domesticated virus or an illness.
Virus, yes. So
it's not in-house. So it's going to, and so we're looking at all of the places where it could come from. Yeah. And thankfully, we got the Federal Minister of Health at that time. So we started, checking at the border posts where forms were given. People would check temperature, and all of it. And when we are doing that in some other big Western countries, they are not even started. And that's the point. They are not even started. I had, friends, I had family members who will come back and will abuse us and say, what are you people doing? They were coming from another country. They didn't ask us for anything. They didn't give us any form. So that Nigerian thing in us did not sink in. They thought that we were just being difficult.
So what are you asking me? That was the very first thing you did. But then that there were a number of other initiatives that you implemented as well over the last couple of months. We've seen, obviously, then the first of all started with the lockdown. Then there was the testing. Then there was the tracing. Then there were the medical checks, the house-to-house medical checks. So, I mean, quite a lot has happened in a short period of time.
Well, I mean, yes, it's true. You begin to, you have different levels of engagement. Each time you think that you have exhausted one, you need to have, it's a proof strategy. You just go to your next strategy, you go to your next strategy. So when we started, we wanted to slow down. We're taking temperature, we're taking addresses and also. And the moment the first index dates came in, which was February 27th, we knew we had to start what we call contact tracing. And what is contact tracing? Everybody that was on that flight, that index flight, we needed to track them and be able to know who sat where is everybody, right? So that took a while for us to quickly be able to bring out those forms. And that's where the problem started. Sometimes people didn't give the correct 11-digit telephone number, or people were not given the correct addresses. So it became very difficult for you to even have access to quickly go and find out what is happening to them. Do they have symptoms? Do they have, any challenge? Are they having difficulty in breathing and all of that? So all that was going on in end of February into March, right? And we were saying that, well, at some point we need to close the border. We need to close the border. So you realize that Nigerians had children that were also abroad. People were going up and down. And we're saying this thing that we need to completely close this place. So from contact tracing, right, then you now start a lot of advocacy. This is something that is novel. It's not so how we even manifest, nobody knows. So there's a lot of literature that now has to go into it. How does it manifest? What are the things people need to go through? And you now look at your level of, citizens. How educated are they? How enlightened are they? Do they even need to believe that this is real and all of it? So all of that has to happen. So we call all of our local government chairmen, the CDC, the CDA, traditional rulers, Muslim organization, Christian organization. You need to convince them first before they can even convince their followership. So if they are not convinced, they're just talking to a brick wall, right? So all of that, and they're wondering, so if it is in China, so why does it bother me? If they are saying that it's people that are traveling, well, I've not traveled, why? What's my concern? So they cannot put the pieces together, right? So, and we also have this concept which you now talk about, social distancing, don't move near somebody because they are droplets. They are not really airborne, but you can pick it anyhow. So people are wondering that if you have a culture that we used to hug and peck and shake, and all of a sudden you wake up and you sleep and you wake up and they said, no, you cannot do all of those things again. So it's a total culture shock, a change in attitude, a change in our lifestyle. So that took a while to sink into our people.
Ongoing, because some people are still not, how are you dealing with those that are not accepting all of this change? Because not everybody is accepting this change. So come 4th of May, the lockdown ends.
No, it's not true. It's gradual. Okay, so we're relaxing the lockdown. That's the word. So we're going into another model, which is one, there's going to be a curfew. Meaning that from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., you cannot even walk at all. So we're shutting down a whole economy with that. And so what also that means is that people need to get home early, quick, and fast. So part of the things that we have done in yesterday's address was that we've done a few other regulations. We want businesses to open between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. That's just a 6-hour window. Yeah. And we're saying to businesses that we want you not to have more than a 60%, in fact, 50 to 60% of your staff. So, so those are some of the conversations. We're not saying that we're moving from 0 to 100 overnight. No, that's it. So yes, and we're going to be monitoring them. This morning, we had meetings with the business community, the LCCI, the Manufacturers Association, the Employers Consultative Forum, the NURTW, all of the various stakeholders that have huge followership, for them to understand that this is just a gradual ease of the locking, such that people can have some bit of a breather and walk back.
So can all businesses come the 4th operate within those hours that you've mentioned, or only essential key businesses?
Not all businesses. My address yesterday was very definitive, right? Schools, for example, are still closed. Tertiary, secondary, primary are still closed.
Centers closed.
Yes, more than half of the civil service is still closed. In fact, about 70% of the public service is still closed. From level 1 to level 12, you're still back. You're not at work, right? All of the churches, religious organizations, they are still closed. All of the public parks, and cinemas, unfortunately, in your industry, they're still closed, right? So eateries are not sitting. It's only takeaway, dining, and so public transportation is maximum of 50 to 60% in any single occupancy. So these are all plans.
So how do we monitor all of this? Because I was reading an article, certain restrictions were relaxed last week in Dubai, but since they relaxed them, they've gone back and now fined and penalized a large number of people that were not obeying the restriction guidelines. Now, how do you, because Lagos is so wide, it's so massive. Do you have a task force that's going to go out asking people how do we know that everybody is observing these hours and looking at the percentages of 60% occupancy on a bus and the hours that an office opens and closes? How do we monitor all of this?
So it's a tough one, right? It's a tough one. But the first thing is that we'll make those pronouncements, right? So we're going to be using all of our various enforcement agencies, the neighborhood watch, the police. But we're also going to be publicizing like a whistleblower number, right? So if you as a staff, you think that your employer is unduly endangering your life, they're not keeping those things were said, we will protect your identity, or you will have a number to also call and report. And so what that means is that we're flagging such organization. And so what it means is that we actually can close you down, right? We can close you down completely. As against giving you 50 to 60% access, we can actually say, you know what, we've taken everything out and you are not meant to open at all. That is part of the thing that do. So that's why we've called all the audit. Yes, I can't hear you.
Is there an incentive for your whistleblowers?
There will be, but you see, the incentive is life. Because what it means is that we're protecting you. It's life that we're giving you. Some people are putting your life or your family life in some, well, we said that it's not a death sentence, but it's better you are protected. So we're giving you life. We're saying to you, if you see that somebody is unduly, risking you, if you see that a bus is crowded, you, in your own self-interest, you don't have to enter. So one of the things we've said to companies is that make sure you provide alternative means of transportation for them if you found that they are critical.
So the essential services that can resume work on Monday now are the banks, the markets can open, eateries can open.
So the markets too, the public open market, we're going to be staggering them. A pronouncement will come out by Saturday. So it's not all of them that will open same day. Like we have the neighborhood markets now in schools, because our schools are still closed. Some big markets will work maybe on alternate days. They will not all not just work, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No, it's not going to happen, right? So there will be some markets that will be on Monday, another will be open on Tuesday, Wednesday, and probably you come back again on Thursday or something like that. That's the kind of arrangement. And we're working with their leaders as I speak now. There's a meeting today with market women leaders and market men leaders and all of them. So we're carrying them along to explain to them that this have the kind of new set of engagement that we need to have going forward. Okay. So those are some of the things that will come up.
Mr. Governor, you've said that this is phase 1 of easing the lockdown. So there are obviously going to be several other phases. When do you see us being towards, 4 weeks from now, a month from now, 2 months from now, when do you finally see us getting back into some sense of normality in Lagos again? Based on the advice that your experts have given you.
Yes. So the testing and the level of how the virus is moving in the community, we're monitoring it. We're monitoring it scientifically, and we're seeing what the ratios and what the issues are. So what we've done is we've decentralized, sample collection to more than 20 locations. We have about 4 different labs that are doing testing now. But so once we present at each of these sample collection centers, there are statistics that will show that maybe out of every 10 that are coming, because people can just come to want to be tested, what are the preponderance of people, that they think from that they're sick, or there's a likelihood that given their history, they will be, in the positivity era. So those are some of the statistics that we need to take back and see what percentile. Maybe out of every 100, we think that it has grown to 30%, it has grown to 25%. So maybe over the next 1 month, that 30% has now dropped to 20%, has now come down to 15%, or is it now moving to 50%? So we need to do that modeling as we go to weeks, ahead of us. Is that modeling that you will see how the community is reacting to the virus, and how people are getting in and out of it, and so that will give us the sense of how quickly we can return back to normalcy, or we still need to hold on to it and see how it plays out.
Okay, because that modeling, is it ongoing at present, or it hasn't started yet?
Oh, no, it's ongoing.
So based on the modeling that's ongoing, the modeling that's ongoing, when do you think we're going to see some sense? Because everybody's waiting. I'm sorry to put you under pressure, and if you can't answer, I totally understand. But based on the modeling that is ongoing at present, when do you see some sense of normality coming back to Lagos?
Okay, so internationally, people have come up with different models to say that this thing can be with us till middle of next year. When I say with us, the entire world. Yeah. Right. So it's not like a rollback. You know, and some people have said that for it to even finally get out of the whole world, you need a vaccine. Yeah. Vaccine will probably not be on everybody's, until sometime next year. Yeah. So that's the kind of the long reach of it. But if you roll it back, right, the question you ask yourself is, okay, people that are getting infected, how are they manifesting? So we have the mild, we have the moderate, we have the severe, and we have the critical. So when you do your modeling and you say to yourself that out of 1,000 cases that you have, maybe 75% of your cases are mild, maybe 10% are moderate, maybe it's only 5% that is severe, and maybe it's only 2% that is critical. So that's the kind of model that will help you judge and say that, okay, in your higher rate of mortality.
I'm just trying to get you to give me an answer to when do you think Lagos is going to go back to normal? And you're
it's not a switch on and off answer like that. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Because 6 weeks ago, we thought that we would be doing around 10,000 positivity, in Lagos, but we're not. Yeah. Right. So, but if I should say another 6 weeks down the line, they will say to you that maybe we're going to have about 25,000 positive cases. Right. Yeah. It's not. The number is not the thing that's supposed to scare you. It's in that 36,000 or 30,000 or 20,000, how have they managed themselves out of it? What is the percentage of people that have gotten well or that just have mild symptoms of it and they're out of it? So those are the kind of modeling that will help you know the severity of what you are dealing with in your own local community.
But to cut a long story short, basically the answer is that we just don't know right now. As in, like, we're in the long haul. There's a lockdown that's phase one of the lockdown is that there will be some level of movement, but it's not a lot of movement. And we have to understand that for the time being, we need to continue to live with these restrictions. That's really the answer, right? So let's move on to the interstate measures. And in talking about the interstate measures, I know in a recent interview you gave, you spoke about the fact that the reason why we have these high numbers is because of the late closure of the airport, and the borders were not shut. But now there's all the interstate measures that are coming to play. Now, how does that affect Lagos in terms of what is allowed to go between one state to the next? How much control do we really have from who's coming into Lagos State, who's going out of Lagos State, and all of those movements? Because there are so many ways in and out. I mean, how do we control all of that? And what's your view on how?
So that's good. So we've taken a national view, and which I must commend Mr. President for that. In his last address, he had said that all of us must stay where we are. So just remain in your state. And before then, there's been a lot of my colleagues, governors, who had closed their borders. But like I said, it was how we started. Let's take a single protocol that is applicable to all of it. Because if state ABC closes and EDF does not close, and EFG, it just doesn't make for coordination. Now, everybody stay in the state you are currently and just remain there. So everywhere is closed now. The Southwest governor actually started there first about a week and a half ago. So once it's now a general conversation, and you know that if you leave Lagos, you can't even go beyond Ogun State or your state, and you still need to go to Niger. So you think twice, because you realize that, it's like you're never going to get there. So you think twice and you stay back, right? We are also the epicenter. So I know a lot of my colleagues have said to me that these people came from Lagos, so we don't want them to come out from Lagos again and all of that. People jokingly say that. But for us, is also to be able to monitor what we're doing, right? Monitor what we're doing and be able to and comb the entire state, very well. We're a city state, meaning that almost every part of Lagos, is contiguous, and it's just one big, massive, mega city, right? So for us, the only, and I say that to my colleagues, the only neighbor that I have is Ogun State, right? On my geography, and the other side, on the southern part, is Atlantic Ocean. And of course, on the western part is Republic of Benin, which the land borders have closed, which I must say, by the way, we quarantined about 110 Nigerians. They've all been released now at Badagry at some point in time. So if Ogun State and I agree, nobody can, move beyond Shagamu or Ijebu-Ode or going towards Ibadan. So there are actually like 4 or 5 routes that we can just, and same thing has happened, from Ogun State to Oyo State to Ondo State and all of it. So everybody is saying to themselves, just close it. Once you close it, you can as well know that they are not doing cross-border transmission. They are not doing cross-border transmission, and you really can curtail what you have. So what are your upside, what are your downside, right? And we are doing, where we are now, we're doing what we call house to house, we're doing community tracing. So once we're doing community tracing and we have taken care of number 4 on a particular street, we will not be scared that 3 days down the line, somebody had come from another state into that house. We know that we have dealt with everybody. Exactly. So that's how it works. Once you are done with the residents, you know that those are the residents, that nobody is coming in, nobody's going out, and it will help your planning.
What is considered essential? Because I understand that even though the borders are shut, there's still a certain amount of interstate travel that is considered essential. So what are those essentials that can come from?
Essential is plain. It's only food items, food supplies, medical supplies that are considered as essential right now. So all medical supplies,
food and medical. Food. Right.
Food and medicals. Food and medicals are the major essentials. And petroleum products. Which are the tank drivers and all of that.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Do you see, I mean, talking about things opening up, do you see the airport opening up soon? I mean, do you see some level of movement at the international and the local? Because there's rumors about the local is going to open up in the next month or so, or next few weeks, and then international. Do you have any information to share with us on that?
Truthfully, I don't even want them to open anytime soon. Let's deal with this thing, decisively as best as we can. And that's what we're saying. Once it's in community, you don't know who is where, or so let's get it slowed down. Let's get it slowed down. And it's better for us to have the pain now, right? Against, completely relaxing it and now have a relapse. In medicine, when you have a relapse, it will come stronger and bigger and tougher, right? And so we shouldn't let that happen. Let's just take the bullet now and let's just stick with it, and let's see the curve flatten out almost everywhere.
So basically, you don't see the airports opening for local or international for the next 1 or 2 months? 2 months?
I will not even subscribe to it. If I ask my opinion, I will not support it.
Everybody just stay where you are right now. Okay.
I think that's the best.
Yes. Now, in the last few weeks, lots of pledges were made. We saw it was all over the news. This person was pledging this, this person was pledging that. This organization was, all kinds of pledges have been going on. Mr. Governor, have all the pledges been reduced? Because Nigerians are fond of pledging and then not honoring the pledges. Have they all paid up?
Okay, so just keep your gunpowder dry. Tomorrow, newspaper, you will see in 3 newspaper publication, national dailies, all of the things we've collected, both cash, both goods, both service, everything is going to be transparently published in 3 newspapers tomorrow, and you will have it live, and you see. So that will answer all of the questions. So people that have pledged, that are not there, they know that, and so Nigerians can make the call at that time. It's coming out tomorrow. I made the commitment yesterday, and it's coming out tomorrow, and everybody will see it.
Okay.
And it will also be on our website thereafter. So people will be, and if subsequently people now come back to say that I want to redeem, we'll upgrade and we'll update that record, on a timely basis, for people to see that beyond that, there's been additional, but it's coming out tomorrow.
So what's coming out tomorrow, does that also address how the pledges have been used in terms of what you've used them for?
Oh, well, I mean, it's ongoing. So we're not out of pandemic yet. You know, I've signed some expenses today, for example. So it certainly cannot answer what we've used. It's an ongoing usage. You know, I had to start looking to buy reagents, to buy medical supplies, to do all of those things, even today. So, and in the war zone, sometimes, you don't have the luxury, of going round, too many things to make a decision, right? You need to make, So some of the pledges, so some of the things we will receive, some want us to put them in brick and mortar, right? So we're also aware of that, especially the ones that federal government supported us with. There was some percentage that they want us to put as in brick and mortar. And so we're being very prudent with that and ensure that we're not just going to be spending everything that has been given, or we're utilizing everything that we've been given. But it's on an ongoing basis. So but that part of spending will come later, and we'll display it.
If you had to put a number on how much you've spent during this pandemic, is it something you could do, or is it just like a number that's just not there right now?
No, it's somewhere. So how far back do you want me to go? From December when we started the conversation, or from March when we started the lockdown? Because they're two different things.
Well, just give me the two figures. It would just be interesting for people to know what this has really cost.
No, I wouldn't be able to say the two figures, but if I say from December into this year's budget, right, they've gone into, decent amount of billions from all the infrastructure of the upgrades we had to do to the hospital, building of the isolation centers, all the procurements we had to do, allowances we had to pay, and all of the equipment we had to do, decent amount of billions.
5, 6, 10 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion?
not up to 10. Not up to 10.
Okay, okay.
Not up to 10. Not up to 10 minutes.
Now, I want to take us back to where this supposedly started. I don't know if you saw Hard Talk yesterday. The presenter, the host of Hard Talk, was saying this all started in Wuhan. And this Chinese ambassador to the UK basically said, there's no actual proof that it started in Wuhan. Now, I know that a few months ago, you visited China, and there's the global consensus that people are not happy with the Chinese about what's going on. Obviously, China plays an important role in Nigeria, probably to a certain extent in Lagos as well. And I know recently a Chinese restaurant, from what I heard, was closed down in Victoria Island because they refused to serve Lagosians. And Lagos State was like, no, that's not going to happen in this state. But also, a lot of Nigerians have been treated really, really badly in China. It's been all over the news about how they've treated Nigerians. What is your view on how we should treat the Chinese in our country, or more so closely in Lagos State? What are your views on that?
Well, I mean, so these are sovereign to sovereign relationship that I imagine Ministry of Foreign Affairs, especially the minister who I still spoke to earlier today, has taken up the responsibility fully. Is someone that I know has all of the capability and capacity to represent us and to be our spokesperson, at bilateral issues like this, because it goes beyond just what I feel. These are
to know what
sovereign, sovereign issues. But I mean, but a few things that also speaks to us as individuals. It would be unfair to generalize and say all Chinese, right? And I think that there are quite a number of them, given the history and the news we're seeing, that have behaved very irresponsibly, I must say. I mean, very, very unexpected or deserving of any other national to have been treated that way. It's really so unfair and unfortunate, right? And I think what we also need to do is just to be able to say to ourselves, even the ones that are in our own environment here, that we will respect you, but I think you also need to respect us and respect us very, very well. And I think the point needs to be made very, very clearly. Yes, they might have investment here, but we also need to be firm. That we're a nation, and we have a strong history and culture, of ourselves. You are here because you believe that there's something positive, or there's the business opportunity you've seen here. And so you must be able to deal with it under the laws and confines of the environment you find yourself. So personally, I have a few great numbers amongst them that are very hospitable and are very humane, and I want to continue to, identify with them, in that manner. But having said that, there are a whole lot of them too that believe that they are too smart for themselves. Yeah. And I think states, and everybody must be able to deal with them, accordingly, and not mind, what are the other things they're bringing, So really, it's really for us ability to be able to sift out, the good ones from the not so good ones among themselves, and let's take a decision, about them. We need to, take them back to where they've come from, so be it. But there are lots of good ones amongst them, and that's my own personal opinion.
Yeah. Now, post-COVID, things are going to change, Mr. Governor, as in, like, there's going to be an entire new world that's going to awaken before us. So globally, Lagos, what do you see? How do you see us living our lives post-COVID-19? When it's all said and done, what do you think are going to be the big differences? If you just had to dream about it, or what would you see?
Well, lots of ways. Spiritually first, it just goes to show to us that, whereas weak as, the very next person that is next to us, that all of this noise about we being invisible and that we're so powerful, it just goes to show that there's nothing like that. So that spiritually for me speaks a lot to show that there's a supreme being, or there's something. Yes, there's some bit of science to it, but you need to look at it from that. So that will tell us that as individuals, even as leaders, we now need to understand and appreciate that we're here to support others. We're here to help others. What we have, what we do, is not about ourselves alone. It's about your community, it's about your people, it's about your state, it's about your nation. And that it's not just us during COVID to know that you need to support your house help or your next door neighbor or the guy that is down your street to give them food. It's something that's supposed to happen, going forward, even post-COVID. It's something that we need to understand that, you don't own all of these things. So of what essence is it? All the monies, all the
material.
So that should speak to individuals and be able to humble each and every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Bring us back and know the real essence of our being.
Mm-hmm.
That for me, most important. But beyond that, going forward, is a lot of things will change.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things will change. Even the ways we socialize. We like to do things in large numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So the parties, who has the largest crowd, people will begin to think twice about that, what is happening around. And we also need to just be our brother's keeper, and know that, it's good to have family bonding. It's good to have, real good relationship, because, now, I'm sure where you are too, you're with your family.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. And that's the strongest thing. That's what we show. We need to show a lot of love. We need to show a lot of compassion. We should not just, stop all of these things post-COVID. We should continue to let our life live. We should be our brother's keeper. You should look out for someone, right? So it's not like the age where everybody in Lagos and New York is in a hurry. We're just moving and we're just, just want to. All of those kind of things we'll need to think.
You're taking a more humane, your response to me is more humane. But I was just wondering, in terms of structurally, how...
Oh, well, in terms of structure, okay, so in terms of structure, part of the things that I would see, differently is traveling will be different. How both in this, where you're going to, and airlines will change. Seating arrangements and all of that, will be changed. Also, what we even as leaders need to do around, our health facility infrastructure, in our health delivery system, it needs to change. So we need to understand that what is critical, what is urgent, what is important, even in our budgetary, allocation and all of that. So those are some of the long-lasting things that we will need to begin to think through, post-COVID. What are the indices that we need to see to say to ourselves, no, we are going on the wrong. What is important even for a leader, for a country, right? How do we best utilize the resources we have? Nigeria is a monoproduct country. It's reality now that we need to diversify, and for other lines, businesses. So a lot of ingenuity needs to come, into that. We need to know that now we need to be able to feed ourselves very well.
I was going to say, Lagos, can we feed ourselves? Are we farming in Lagos? We're not known for farming. So what?
Not necessarily. We don't have the size. I'm just a little dot. Lagos is less than 0.5%. So what Lagos would do, Lagos will either acquire a lot of farmland in neighboring states, right, where we can also support our farmers, and that's what we're doing currently. We're actually identifying massive farmland in a lot of our neighboring states where we also can, have a lot of high-end, farm. But I think what Lagos needs is it needs to have coordinated markets, coordinated market where we can very well regulate all of the things that comes into Lagos, because Lagos is a user. Lagos is an end user in itself, where you can't take everything you've produced. So if we have some sort of like a monitoring system, we will know the quality of things that are coming in, and we'll also have a means of ensuring that the distribution it's organic in nature, and it gets to everywhere that it needs to go to. So Lagos will not be a farmland, as it were, but there are a few other things that we can do. There are a lot of creative farming now that people could do in terms of even vegetables, and other things in greenhouses that have the cobalt in Italy, in Israel, where they do greenhouse farming, and so all of that will come into play.
Before I let you go, Mr. Governor, come 4th of May, the lockdown is being eased. People can go out and eat. Are you still going to continue feeding those that need to be fed, or is that coming to an end?
No, we will do a mix of it. So we've never been able to feed everybody.
Yes.
But if people too, because we still want people not to think that they have to be now roaming the street everywhere. We'll continue to. We'll also continue because we still have a few palliatives. So we'll still continue to give out, the food, the dry food. We'll continue to do it to the vulnerable. We'll continue to advise elderly people not to leave their houses. That was part of my speech yesterday. We'll continue to do that. And we'll encourage, all of our eateries. Maybe we'll give them a fairly longer hour because of also the Ramadan, so that people can do a lot of takeaways, and they can break their fast, after a long day, So those are some of the things we're looking at. Yes, we'll continue to provide some bit of support for the vulnerable in our system. Yes, we will.
Thank you so much, Mr. Governor. I don't know if you have any closing remarks, anything you'd like to say to Lagos.
It's really a trying time for all of us. It's really a defining moment, as a nation, as a state. But I really want to thank and commend our health workers. You see, they're the real heroes of today. On a daily basis, I try to talk and send texts to my health workers that are in isolation centers. Some of them are there, unfortunately, but they're all they're all in very high spirit, and some of them will be very soon, meaning that some of them are getting well, and but really is to thank all of them, and we cannot thank them enough because they are the ones that are on the front line, right? But it's also a call to duty. It's something they've signed on to, right? So we want to appreciate them, and I want to appeal to our citizens that we're not out of it yet. Honestly, people must respect and understand that, if you don't have a need to go out, please, for the sake of your family, for the sake of yourself, please just stay back at home. It's a very highly infectious, virus that we're dealing with, so please, it's better for us to still have ourselves 3-4 months down the line than all of us trying to just rush out and trying to see how we hike a living. If you don't need to go out, please don't. And I want to say that, let's be our brother's keeper. If you ask somebody for help, if the person cannot help, don't take offense. You don't know what the position of the person is, right? But if you are in a position to help, even without people asking, if you have it in your heart, please go ahead and do that. Now there are very soft moments for all of us. All of us, we're as weak as the next person. So we need to hold ourselves, and be able to pull out of this. We don't know how long. We're praying and we're doing everything to believe that we'll come out of it stronger and better. So really, that's what I want to leave with everyone, to say that government will do everything. I will not leave them alone. We'll continue to communicate transparently. We'll continue to tell our citizens what's going on, where we are, and what are the things we need to do. That we'll make mistakes. Yes, we might make mistakes because we don't have a business school model out of it. So we're doing it as we go along, but know that we're doing it with best of intentions in our heart. And we're praying that we'll come out of it well.
That's what counts. But just to say thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all the initiatives and the great work that you're doing in Lagos. Everybody is just applauding you. And I also join them. Thank you so much, Mr. Governor. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much. Thanks again.
I hope that you'll come back one day when we open.
As you said, I don't know when the airports are going to open. So as soon as the airports open, but I'm here with my grandson and my daughter. So as you said, family first right now. So it's family.
Stay with them and stay safe yourself.
Thank you so much,
Bye-bye.
Mr. Governor.
Bye
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.